38.
Yeah.
And we have a quorum here,
Yeah.
ready and able to listen to your sage advice.
Well, so I think one of the reasons I want to have you come in then, I don't think we need introductions. You good?
No, we don't.
All right, you know everybody at the table? Yes, right? Yeah. Well, I like that
I know.
piece. I do like that piece for the record too, on the tape. But one of the reasons I wanted you to come in was I thought that by now you had suggested you might be able to address anything you had where you had a difference on any finance element with the Board of Selectmen. Do you feel like you've got anything like that, or have you guys been able to merge?
Well, I guess tonight will be the true test of that. I did the same talk for them as I did for you, just the introduction of the documents.
Yeah.
I think largely what I've tried to do this year has been with their support and at their direction, which was to address health insurance as best as possible, to complete the streetlights project and to rectify, really this would be the last year where we have the flexibility to rectify any operational or compensation issues that need to be changed.
Okay.
To focus for what is now going to be more of a marathon than a sprint, which would be to batten down the hatches and try to hold on to financial stability for the next 4 or 5 years through the forecast, without a lot of change. And if there is change, it would have to be justified by some deeper reduction or more likely revenue growth to legitimize it.
Okay.
So that's where we are. I have good news that all of the collective bargaining units and the non-union employees, except for the teachers' union, signed a memorandum of understanding today to enter into the health insurance arrangement with the joint purchasing group. And the DTA is favorably disposed at the leadership level, but they want to have a ratification vote, which is very understandable, a week from tomorrow,
Okay.
By whom?
the membership.
Okay.
So
You said
we're-
DTA, Douglas Teachers?
Douglas Teachers
Okay.
Association. So we're preparing the background support, the one pager, this is what it would cost you, this is what
Okay.
it would have cost you to distribute that, and that should be the end of the discussion, I think we're good.
So who's in our purchasing group?
So it's coming down to Dudley Charlton School District and the town of Webster.
Okay.
Stoughton is still a wild card. They're trying to do this very fast, and it's a larger town. It's very difficult for them.
That's like not here, around here at all.
No, but
That's where
it
IKEA
really,
is.
a group is a group, and
Yeah.
we're
Mhm.
buying in a bigger market.
Okay.
They have a lot of lives.
Mhm.
They have a very successful self-insurance program already. They are sitting on $8 million in equity that they've built over the years from being self-insured. It's just a matter, that is actually the rub.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How do
Right.
they
Yeah.
cope with the equity balance that they
Right.
have, and
Right.
how to use it for the best of their town? So that will take some time. It's a process. It's taken us a while.
We're gonna go into this with no equity.
Yeah, we will. So we will take 1 month's worth of claims
Yep.
and deposit that into the equity fund of the joint purchasing group. So all 3 groups will have 1 full month worth of claims.
Right.
So for us, that's a substantial sum. It's coming out of free cash. So it's not in the budget.
So the Webster folk and the Dudley folk are on, they're good to go?
I think they're voting this week. In the case of Dudley Charlton, I think that's a vote of the school committee. I don't know if there's going to be much more involved in that. In Webster, they have a lot less flexibility than we do in terms of the commitments we can make. So in my case, our plan is so stripped down and stripped out and bare bones, and the rest of the state's catching up to us, that I didn't feel it was too much to commit the remainder of this fiscal year and the next 3 fiscal years to commit to the same premium share split, to maintain the plan design, to maintain the network, and to maintain the HSA deductibles. We will have the same plan for the next 3 years. I think that's a fair thing, that even though our premium share is 80-20 and most towns are 75-25, they don't have a deductible.
The
And they don't
town
have an
pays
HSA.
80%?
What's that?
The town pays 80%?
The town pays 80%.
Individual or
And
all
family.
tiers of,
All
All
tiers.
all
kinds.
tiers?
Wow.
Retirees are 50/50 under 32B. That's the maximum that you can go. But just bear in mind that because of the deductible is, for a family plan, would be $4,000. And we pay $2,000 into the HSA, so the employee is at risk for the $2,000. So their 20% share is more than 20% because they're picking up the deductible. I think it's more than adequate for us to stay put where we are.
Yeah,
It was-
that's, God, my businesses would be happy with that.
Yeah.
How many teachers are in the other areas compared to ours? Are we about the same, more or less?
No, I think both the other groups are larger than us.
Somewhat larger or a lot larger?
I want to say we probably represent, when we do this, we gotta get a number big enough to work with. We are probably 2/9,
Oh, okay.
maybe almost.
That's not counting Stoughton then, right?
No, it's still, would be far smaller share of it. We also have, we have quite a few people who waive or opt out of our insurance.
Right.
So our group potentially would be substantially large, almost twice as big as it is. But about 45% of our people don't take it.
40 or 45%.
There's a lot of people opt out.
So is that number, do we know what a trending number of that is? It feels like it's going up.
So you're correct. For the last 2 years, it went up quite a bit.
Yeah.
This year, we saw a little bit of erosion with coming back in.
Mhm.
We think that's because some of our teachers were hired at a young age and are now aging up. And there might have been a couple of people at a life-changing event where they decided to come over. But, so we're about 111 waive, about 14 opt-out. We have about 167 covered lives. So that you do the math there, it's a little bit less than half, it's 60/40.
But we reimburse them for not using our insurance.
So if
Is
they
that
opt
correct?
out, if they're already with us and they opt out, they get $3,000.
Mm.
If they don't ever take it, they get $200 a year.
Oh.
We have 167, including the teachers and all the town employees, and the highway department, and the water department. Does that include spouses, or do you figure?
No, those
as
are our,
one?
those are
Employees.
our people. So
Okay.
in terms of covered lives, we're substantially larger than
Oh,
that.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Policies.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
So, yeah, no, there hasn't been a whole lot of disagreement or a lot of extra discussion to this point.
were you coming out on things like Blackstone Valley's request? You agreeing to it?
This year came out pretty well for us, a substantial difference from last year. And then the prognosis for next year is even better still. There's a rumor on the street, I'll let if the superintendent wants to speak to it, but substantially fewer students applied this year, and substantially fewer therefore were, well, not necessarily therefore were accepted, but it just worked out that way.
For next fall?
So right now, the outlook for next year would be that we would see a very level.
Well, it was a multi-pronged solution.
For October or for,
The October 1 census should reflect a
Yes, sir.
downward trend from where we are today. I think that's fair to say that.
bear with me, October 1 being for this fall's
Yes.
incoming class?
This year's
Yeah,
incoming
okay.
freshman
All right,
class.
okay, yeah, all right. And where does the board in your office stand on the school committee's request?
We asked them to come to 2%, because
That's where you're looking
That's
to
where
go.
we can
Okay.
sustain.
Okay.
I think I've expressed this already to you, I'll reiterate it, that we're hopeful that they can save some on their bus trans contract. And my personal recommendation is that they'd be allowed to keep every dollar they save, put it into their base.
When would that be determined?
It's not done until it's done, so we are finishing up the consulting project in the next week or two. And we should have-
Consulting.
So we hired a consultant to do the bus routes,
Okay.
to reorganize the bus routes to be more efficient. That work is just about done. The school committee has voted, I believe, I don't know if it's on the public record yet or not, but they voted, and so we will,
Well, if they voted,
we will go out to the, you don't know until they come back with bids,
yeah,
whether those savings will be
substantial.
substantial or not. My personal view is that if the contract price doesn't change, but the number of routes goes down, then we have a pretty good case for collusion. Not supposed to do that.
When again would you likely find out approximately?
Well, I think the school committee is anxious to have the contract, so I would say we would do the procurement as quickly as time allows. There are only so many bus companies, and if we're aggressive about soliciting bids.
Now, would you find out in May or find out in October?
There you go. Get right down to the date.
May-ish.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's gotta be in place.
Okay.
They gotta do practice routes and everything else over the summer. We can't wait though.
And so in theory, is there a number budgeted for the routes in that
We have
2%
budgeted-
number?
We have budgeted the worst-case scenario for the school bus contract. So if you go back to that one page or that top page,
Yeah,
I think it's a 15, and I want to make sure I get the decimals right. 15 flat. So we had them going up 15% in their bus contract.
Do we have that or no?
Yeah, you do. So it's this one, slightly off-center of,
that's okay. And so that's in that 2% overall increase number?
no, so they got, the budget calls for them to get a 2.
Yeah.
If they can take their bus contract down, they, as far as I'm concerned, they could keep every dollar and put it up into that number at the top. They get 2 no matter what. The budget calls for
Right,
2.
right. But it's got a number built into it. It's at the worst-case scenario.
Yes.
That's right, yeah, okay, yeah, I got it. Okay, all right. What could that savings be hypothetically?
I'm not sure exactly how they came out on their vote. Figure a route is about 62,000.
Yeah,
So 1 or 2 routes would be between 62 and 120.
okay. It would swing right back into their overall budget.
That's my
to be-
recommendation. Remember, I don't make the call that shot, but that would be my recommendation.
Who calls that shot?
The Board of Selectmen will be their budget, right? What the local share is a budget item in the budget
Local share.
of the school budget.
Okay,
This number at the top of this,
Okay.
of this
okay.
inset.
The transportation amount is not part of the school budget.
It's not.
a-
It's
It's a,
in-
it's a,
it's-
bo- it's a town.
It's a shared
obligation.
responsibility, you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Comes out off our side of the budget, but they make the
Got it.
policies that drive
Okay.
what goes into the contract.
okay. All right. I think I'm good.
Do we have anything else?
I don't, but I'm at your disposal if you have anything else.
Real quick, is there anything, did we cap then for next fiscal year, money for economic development at $5,000?
So, in this spreadsheet, you'll see that they have 1,000 in their budget.
Yeah,
There's a little overage here, 32, 33, that's the bottom line
yeah,
in the black.
yeah,
I would give that to them.
yeah,
And Jean and I discussed it, we would leave it at that. And one of our department heads said, you know, there might be a little bit in mine if you want to bring them up to 5,000, you want to
Okay.
take 700
Yeah.
bucks from me, I'm all
Yeah.
for it, that was
Yeah.
Adam, so.
yeah.
If we need to, we have fall town meeting. What would we use it for? We would use it for the brass tacks of economic development, no studies,
Yeah.
but somebody to help us write a grant application
Yeah.
and leverage us. Yeah, but we need that help.
And is that determined on the Economic Development Committee?
We kind of, I mean, it's a small town, so everybody's working very closely together, the town engineer's office, my office, the EDC membership. You know this, I mean, we've all been, we're in constant communication with everyone. So with a lot of our grant applications, we get help from the CMRPC, Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission.
Okay,
And they have dedicated grant writers and grant administrators there that help with this stuff. And we're looking at a complex set of documents to fill out.
they're kind of on a
And
per diem
time-
basis?
No, part of the job, it's an admin thing, you know, we might get reimbursed out of the grant itself, but we gotta front it, you know, we gotta get the work started.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
All set,
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Sounds good.
All right. I will take my leave, if I may.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt, thanks.
Now I gotta pop to my car a minute, I'll be right back.
Okay. We'll do a presto changeover.
So we don't have anybody coming up?
Jean, I don't know what document Matt was looking at. I don't know
I think
what-
we're still on.
You almost stopped this, I don't know.
We're still on.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we're still on, yeah.
I'm not sure whether I have it or not. He said I did, but I found this in
What was he referring to?
a document that had totals of, I
Was it
think,
that spreadsheet he gave us last week?
Probably.
well, I mean, this was the spreadsheet he gave us last
All
week,
those, yeah.
all this stuff.
This, it would be, are you talking about the school and the
That's
bus?
the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he was talking about.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen
Let me
that.
go
I'll
make
give
a
it back
copy.
to you.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, well,
can I just see it for a
Don't touch
minute,
my paper.
right?
this was
So what-
in, this was,
Health
This
insurance.
was in-
That was for the school, that's the one you were
Okay.
missing, so that's what I
Got it.
tracked down for you. That was the school budget.
oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Suzanne sent you the BBT,
Yeah.
so you
did.
should be all set. That's what you requested last week. Would you like copies of these?
No, not at the moment.
I'm all set.
Would you like a copy, Pam?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
Well, if you've got to go all the way over there, I'll take one.
All right, I'll take one if you're going over there.
Might as well do
Just
five.
watch you have to
Do
go so far.
six, no, no.
Dick?
yeah.
Yeah.
So Heather's not coming, but Mike might be coming, so,
Thank
Yeah,
yeah.
all right. What's next?
cable.
I think we're gonna be speaking with cable, and it looks like Pat Aldridge is here.
All right?
So come on up, Pat.
Some copies.
Copies,
Yes.
like, we like copies. With that, look who's here. Do you need something, or no?
No.
Oh, you're just kind of wandering in and
We're
out?
at Board of Selectmen now, I'll be in touch
Okay,
later.
enjoy. Thank you.
Good, yeah.
I'm gonna just share with you a Pam wish.
Ambush, okay.
Pam wishes that people, when they hand out these documents, they put a lot of work into them. Put your name on them.
Okay.
Okay, it's very helpful. And I like, okay, so I try to put down who gave it to me.
Okay.
But to me, if you're gonna produce something that's wonderful,
Take one and pass them down, you can touch these.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
You want a copy of this too, or?
yeah, he's just
I'm
settling.
just gonna sit with you for a few minutes, if that's okay.
I don't think anybody, I'm trying to like
I'll get kicked
split
out when
this
I'm
and
like-
that, that's a lie.
Gotcha.
Oh, for God's sakes, I'm like, how come I can't get this to?
The eyeballs don't work. Okay, Matt, so what have you got planned? Wild and wonderful things for our cable. Actually, why don't we introduce ourselves, because you're not around that much, so.
Okay.
We've got a couple of people here.
Carol Gondowski.
Lynn Mazzoli.
Pam Holmes.
Howard D'Amico?
Dick Vanderberg.
Nice to meet you all.
Jean, love it.
All right, I'm Pat Aldridge, cable coordinator.
Okay.
So we've recently done upgrades to both of our main recording rooms, including the room we're in right now. For next year, we don't have a lot of items planned. The only capital project that we have planned is the resource room PA system. So we've already presented that to the capital committee to be put on the town meeting. And so that's really the biggest plan that we have. We've recently upgraded all of our computers, our workstations. The only thing I'm gonna need to buy is new cameras that we use to go, when we have certain rooms in this building that have meetings on nights like this, where there's a lot of meetings, we'll go down into a different room, or we'll go over to the sewer department. So I have a camera that folks will bring over, a camera and a tripod set up. We also use for public stuff, you know, if the senior center has events or
Yeah.
anything like that, Oktoberfest, things like that. So
Are those getting worn out after,
Yeah.
how old are they?
we consider them about a 5-year
Mhm.
project, so let's see, I can find the exact dates on that, but.
That's okay, don't need the exact dates.
Okay, but those, so we have 3 total. 2 of them are getting into the age where we're starting to think about replacing them, so I was gonna do that this year. But those aren't special project, those are reasonable. So that's really the only special plans that we have for this year, other than just maintaining the 100%, try to do 100% coverage of all open meetings that are held in town. And then we have various public things. We work pretty tight with the senior center to try to get everything that they'd like us to taped. You know, we're certainly welcome to new ideas as well. We just put up a section on the website, which is a public events submission board. So if someone has something coming up that they think would make a good cable program for the public, they can submit it through the website and have us consider taping it. So, you know, trying to get a little more proactive
Interest,
that way.
yeah.
But that's really about it, you know, just keep the train rolling.
Well, you develop the train and then you just keep feeding it, fueling it, shall we say.
Exactly.
Do you have enough people to help do everything?
Yep, we have 5 active recording assistants, and we keep them pretty busy, so
Yeah.
it's nice.
Do you need more?
Probably always take, you know, if people are interested in that type of work, then we definitely accept applications. We're not actively seeking any new
Okay.
people, but
So you're able to do what you want to do with your current group? pretty
yeah,
much?
yep. We rarely have times where we can't cover something, and in those rare times, I'm generally available. I'll make myself available.
The buck stops with you.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but you know, I rarely have to do that. So.
Do you have average hours, or are there people that want to work more, or how does that work?
Yeah, it goes by, some people are available and would like to work as much as possible, as much as I can use them.
Right.
And then some folks only do, you know, 1 a month or 2 a month or whatever they can do, really. And so far, it's worked out really nicely. I have varying people with varying availabilities. So it's you know, knock on wood, it's really worked out to this point.
That's good.
Yeah.
And do you get any money from the charter towards your budget?
Yes.
Okay.
That is what funds his budget.
Oh, that's what funds
Yes.
your budget?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's what I always like to see, what's coming in and what's going out.
Sure.
So does that
He
money go?
actually has it right here.
Yeah, so at the
So
very
the-
bottom.
Oh, okay, there's the revenue, oh,
Yeah.
very good,
Yep.
very good. Okay.
And then below that, it says legal fund. We're saving, we put some money aside each year. We're saving for the next license negotiation. So every 10 years, we do a license negotiation with Charter. So we have to pay legal fees
Yeah.
then.
So this is a receipts reserved for appropriation account,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's a separate article.
Yeah.
So any monies that they don't spend, it gets transferred back over
Okay.
there.
Okay,
So the general fund does not
yeah,
help fund this one.
right, that's kind of what I thought. Now, wasn't there something about, I don't know, I thought I read somewhere that the cable companies, Charter, them weren't gonna be paying these things anymore, is that?
Well, the FCC has decided to try and do a rulemaking change as
Mhm.
far as the way that our budgets are considered.
Right.
But the way I understand what's going to happen, or what they want to have happen, is that it would affect monies that we would receive on top of. So like our last license negotiation, we get an annual check, and then we have an amount above and beyond that we ask for capital funds to build
Yeah.
out. So that's what it would really affect, to my knowledge, is our ability to get more capital funds, which in our case, I think we do a pretty good job keeping it within the cap that we have. And the capital would really just affect if we wanted to, say, build a new studio or something like that, which currently we don't really have plans for. So hopefully it won't affect
Maybe
us.
what we could do is, we could ask the cable people to give us money to build a new police station.
Yeah, right. You're
And you
going.
could go downstairs, we have a big studio down
Yeah.
there.
We'll talk to them at the next negotiation.
I like that idea. What? No, you don't like that idea?
You can't use cable funds to build a police station.
Oh, well,
Don't let them since you like that.
Now, how do they determine how much they give us?
So it's based on the subscriber fees,
Okay.
the subscriber rates in town,
Yeah.
and then it's, it's just negotiated based on current contracts locally. Ours is pretty comparable to all the surrounding areas.
You know, I thought we would be dropping because people are pulling the plug, but Pat informed me we're not.
Yeah, from 2017 to 2018, we actually increased in subscriber base, so I don't know how
okay.
much the cord cutting trend is going to affect us.
Is Charter the only game in town for us?
Right now, yes. Which the
And
cable.
has been for a long time.
Yeah.
And the cable advisory committee is wide open to negotiation. It's just a fact of,
Nobody's knocking on the door?
yeah, no one's knocking on the door. Verizon, Fios has pretty much halted their build out, so we're sort of where we're at. I mean, they're willing to go to the table with anyone else and open it up, but
But there isn't really anybody else.
there's nothing else right now that's pursuing us. And
No Comcast.
No.
Any of that.
Do-
And Cox is just Rhode Island, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Do cable departments like ours go looking for other people to serve us? Is that possible?
Probably to pursue another company. Yeah, I'm not sure what the ramifications would be in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I do hear people saying that they're not really satisfied with Charter, so.
I have one other question. The employees here, evidently, they're not town employees?
They are,
So then how come there's a FICA?
because they have their own funding source. Oh, FICA is Medicare too.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
Oh,
Social
okay.
Security and Medicare. But they fund because they have their own revenue source, we
Right.
charge them for their piece of the
Right.
FICA.
Oh, okay.
So you see it all built out rather than, we
So-
don't see that.
Our town, we're paying in FICA on our town, is it just a
The
Medicare
Medicare,
part?
the Medicare, not
Okay.
Social Security.
So then that means that our people can get on Medicare when they get older, right? Our employees and stuff?
Yeah, and they also pay their share of retirement.
Right.
So the Worcester Regional Retirement associated with, and it's only Pat.
Yep.
Again, we allocate it towards, because they're self-funding.
Okay. All right, I understand that now.
Does anyone have any more questions about any changes?
Nope.
I certainly don't. Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Better late than never, Tom.
That was next door.
Oh, that's okay, that counts.
Perfect.
Okay.
Who's that guy that just?
Huh?
Who's Tom?
Tom Devlin, he's been on the cable commission for a long, long time.
I don't see Bob Sullivan here.
Not yet, huh?
Well, that's all right, he probably thought
I see
7:30.
Jeannie Lovett here.
I know.
Yeah, we can go on to her.
Let's go, let's go out of, let's go out of order.
Seems like we're gonna maybe get out of here. Let me see one
Well,
time.
we've got the town meeting article.
See. Oh, it is. Look at who you find wandering the halls.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Jean, I have a question for you. I don't think we got, no, we didn't get a copy.
Come on in.
How you doing? Copy of the articles.
I have them.
Oh, you do have
I
them?
do have.
Are these different than what were emailed to us?
They are still in draft mode. There's probably a few more question marks filled in.
Okay.
But I do have new copies.
I was just
for
hoping you had something in print for everybody to look at.
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
just-
even though they had it at home in their computers.
This is a whole, it's a whole
I'm having
packet.
such a hard time
Oh, wait, each
separating
one of us has a
papers.
packet?
Each one
Oh,
has a packet.
Oh.
That's one
It's a packet.
So
Okay,
this
figure
is
it
a
out,
packet?
guys.
No, I don't see
No,
it, not
no.
boiling.
Oh, see,
It's all
this
easy.
is
Did
not
I give it
good.
to you? You got that.
Now, just for the record, I did not
Let's
help
start
Mr.
with
Sullivan with
sewer.
this today.
2 pages of sewer, and then it goes to water, and there's 2 pages of water.
Should be
This is,
two for
this is yours.
Everybody
Water
agree?
department, no, I don't know what I've got here.
Here.
Sewer.
This is the sewer.
I have
And
one
this is what
page,
it looks
is it
like.
just one page for sewer?
No,
Okay.
no, and it's, the first
Oh,
page
town well
says sewer here.
Yep, I've got that.
Okay. And then the second page says dues
Yeah,
and memberships up here.
Okay, there we go.
To pump
Second page.
a little over 1 million gallons a day.
Here's water.
All right, 2 pages of
Still
water,
super good
insurance
water.
premiums and salaries.
I think our water is
Okay, so there's 4 pages.
about 220,000.
Okay.
Ooh,
What
numbers.
Well, I put the numbers on the side to show the difference, but
I noticed. I see.
I also do percentages. but-
Where's the percentage?
I also do the percentages, but this is a different sheet for that.
I got you.
We don't have that one.
No. Paper wasn't wide enough.
Okay, so let's introduce ourselves. We have new members that may or may not have met Bob Sullivan,
Harold Gondonsky.
Lynn Mazzulli.
Pam Holmes.
Howard D'Amico.
Dick Vandenberg.
How you doing? I'm Bob Sullivan. Water system, water and sewer system.
Bob, how long, you've been with us, what, 10 years now?
10 years now, yeah.
It's fun.
I don't remember which one you said I wouldn't stay very long.
Which one you want to start with?
Let's start with sewer.
Okay.
Sewer up top. Get rid of the dirty stuff and go to the clean.
Yeah, so overall, most of the changes are the increase in the salaries based on the 1.75% and whoever's eligible for steps.
Okay.
So there's an increase there. The majority of the rest of the increases is the health insurance, stuff that I kind of have no control over. And a lot of the numbers that you see on the side are just kind of moving numbers around because Jean's added some new baskets. No buckets, is that what you call
I
buckets?
have added new buckets, yes.
So it's just kind of breaking things down a little bit more. So some of them came out, so if you look, you see the 25,000 out of the professional and technical consult.
Sure.
And that got moved down to engineering and architectural just because of what her definition of those categories are, so the buckets.
We were trying to break some of the
Sure.
costs out a little further because things are getting too big. Like the maintenance contracts, like that's something we want to start tracking. And it's becoming, it was part of one number and we're trying to get them so they're all using the same one, like telephone.
Okay.
Telephone's consistent across the town, so.
Yeah, so I didn't put anything in there because I wasn't quite sure what you were talking about, maintenance contract warranty, because when I read the definition, it said warranty stuff, so.
Can you explain just why the third column, that middle column? So you've got an original appropriation, 196, 172. And if I look at the FY '20 budget number, I see the minor differentiation. So what happens, does this budget have a supplement that occurs, gets voted at some point in the fall? How come there's the
No,
FY
the center
19
one is just,
year-to-date expended?
right, so that's just, Jane gives us that, but I kind of disregard that column.
Oh, that's, you're paying
To be
good
honest
attention
with
to
you.
your budget then, right?
Well, I keep my sheet,
Okay.
which I have everything up to
So
date.
so the
I know right to date.
116 is what you got to live with till the end of the
So
year.
I missed a letter. I thought it said extended,
No,
which
it's
changes it
right.
substantially.
Oh, expended.
Expended, and now I agree
Little
with you.
different.
Just practically.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's your job versus his job.
I thought it said
Right.
extended as well too
Right.
at first, so.
Good enough.
So like on my sheet, this is
I got
this
it.
year's budget, not 20, this is FY '19.
Yeah.
So when I do mine, I have my percentages on the side, and then I keep track of how many days we've gone through, what
rolling
percent of the
numbers.
budget we're at,
Yeah,
and
okay.
so. So yeah, I keep track of mine, but I'm not sure when her numbers were pulled from and when it was reconciled, so.
I think we used to get, we would have had 18s total. 18s actual.
I think we did have that in previous.
18 actual,
Yeah.
19 appropriation, and then the proposed for 20, rather than the expended year-to-date.
Right.
Any questions on the sewer department?
How many employees are in the sewer department?
Not enough.
I'm short 2.5 people right now. So right now I got myself, I have one operator on sewer and one operator on water. So we're quite short-staffed at the moment.
Have we been fully staffed?
Yeah, not since I've been here. Every time I got to fully staffed, we lost somebody
Right.
else, so.
It's, I guess, is it competitive or people are not,
It's a very hard industry to get people right now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And I call around everywhere. I have all my salesmen that go to all the different
Yeah.
towns and, listen if anyone's unhappy where they are,
Are there
Yeah.
certain specialized requirements? Is that why
Yeah,
it's so
you have to have-
difficult?
You have to have licenses in both the water and the sewer.
Okay, so you can't just pick up somebody on the street corner who's
Yeah,
looking for a
and-
job.
What happened was, right around when I came here, there was all the talk about, the state was coming in saying, look, it's all the people at my level and one level below me, they're all retiring over the next 5 years, which was 5 years, over the last 10 years, so 5 years ago, a lot of that happened, and there's just not people to fill the
It hasn't
positions.
built up.
And it's just driving salaries and everything else up, so, supply and demand, so.
At some point,
It's
we're
just-
gonna have to look at the compensation schedule to address some of these.
Right.
If that's what it is,
Yeah.
absolutely, because it's so long, too long for
It always
that to
is.
go on.
Right?
And unfortunately, it's not just unique in his field either. Any of the finance offices, they just don't have that pool of people to come in, and there's vacancies.
All the kids nowadays want to sit behind a computer and make millions playing video
Yeah,
games.
right.
Or on their phone coming up with apps.
Yeah.
So as you look at the overall budget, are there any surprises year to year, or is it pretty predictable, pretty steady?
We're pretty stable. There's some things down the treatment plant that are very expensive, and if certain things go, this budget could be in trouble, but
How old is the treatment plant now, Bob?
15 years.
Yeah. It's not that old.
But a lot of the equipment is getting older to the point that they're like,
Ages, yeah.
it's like, they're electrical components.
Uh-huh.
It's a little more sophisticated of a treatment plant. So there's a lot of electronics basically. And any of those little components go and they don't make them anymore. And now they say, oh, well, they don't have something that's compatible, so you gotta replace all of this
Yeah.
as opposed to
So who's your
just one thing.
consultant now for the sewer?
For sewer, we don't have one. We're working with Stantec, who does our water side, because they do both water and sewer.
Didn't you have Beta?
They did have Beta when they built the plant.
Right.
Then Beta kind of became unresponsive to some of our stuff, so
Okay.
we started searching around.
So are the commissioners looking at break-fix times on the overall plant and pieces of the plant and getting input from experts?
Right. Well, that's
So
what
that
I
you've
do.
got a
I-
capital plan or, an ongoing plan to fix things even before they break.
Right. Well, that's what I work on a daily
Okay.
basis. And the last person I hired, he's very good with that, and he's done a lot of research on,
Okay.
which parts we need to look at and
Good.
which parts we're anticipating. Some of that was factored in here. And, he's pretty good at trying to find reliable equipment at the best price, so he does a lot of searching around, which probably doesn't make it easier on her, because we keep adding vendors and.
Well, that's good to know. Good information, thank you.
Do we get federal or state money to help us keep our water clean?
We're not on the water section yet.
We do.
Or the sewer? I mean, this goes into the river, right?
Yeah.
We do apply for grants when we can. We got through the insurance, we got the grant for some of the safety equipment with the new OSHA regulations. Well, they're not new regulations, they're just new to us. And
Well, we're a green community, right? So does that
We are under
help
green
help
community.
anything? Probably hurts, right?
Well, Green Communities is a townwide,
Mhm.
so I don't control that aspect of the
Yes.
budgets.
That's true.
So it's gonna be taken advantage of in other places before it gets to me.
Trickle down and you're at the bottom.
Yeah. But we try to help. I went to
Yeah.
one of their trainings and got a 10% coupon, so I gave that to Matt
Good.
to put towards the lighting.
Yeah.
I don't know if he took advantage of that or
Great.
not,
But in terms of treating water before it goes into the river, we don't get any federal or state help with that at all.
No, it's all funded by the enterprise fund, so.
The users,
Right.
it's really the users.
The users pay for it.
How many do we have using sewer at the moment?
Sewer roughly 775.
Water's a
That's
lot more.
connections, yeah, it's, for the water, it's around 1175.
What's this on the sewer side? Line item 53,800, other services, 118,000.
That is, the majority of that is hauling away the sludge at the end of that process. We have it incinerated. It goes to Rhode Island, to Synagro, they incinerate it at the plant. I typically try to have any waste incinerated, just based on, I don't know if you're familiar with cradle to grave.
Mm-hmm.
So any waste you get rid of, you may be perfectly legal disposing of it the way you're disposing of it now, but in 20 years from now, if they change the regulations and they say, oh, well, you dumped that there, and it was legal at the time, but it's not now, so you're on the hook for the cleanup.
Oh, boy, yeah.
So when you incinerate, it's gone,
Mm-hmm.
it no longer exists, so.
Your worries are gone.
Exactly, there's no more,
Not gonna come back and bite you.
that's the grave there, there's no, it can't come back to you at that point, so that's how I try to get rid of as much waste as we can through incineration.
And how do we see the revenue that comes in on this?
You don't see it on this. This is the expenditure side.
Is the department net cost to the town?
So they're an enterprise as well.
Yep.
When we write the article, because I think you just had your meeting tonight.
We just voted on this.
Yeah.
Right, so I didn't have this before
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Bob and I will meet and see how this is funded. And it's
Okay.
usually, because it doesn't look like there's any capital in it, it will probably be through the rate users as
Mhm.
well as retained earnings.
Okay. And it comes close to revenue neutral?
It has to.
Yeah.
It
So
has to.
revenue- Yeah,
Okay.
I have to do a
Expenditures,
balanced
yeah.
budget.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So-
Okay. All right.
I don't know if there's been a year yet that I haven't, at least, I think last year was the closest where we didn't have some money going into retained earnings.
Okay.
Retained earnings has
It's-
typically
it's-
been spent on projects like
Yeah.
the booster station and the pipe on Wall
Ballpark.
Street.
Ballpark. What are retained earnings currently?
Depends,
Sewer.
depends on how you
Yep.
count retained earnings. There's
Yeah.
different aspects in the enterprise fund.
Yep.
We have some that's reserved for debt, we have some that's
Yeah.
reserved for system development.
Yep.
I want to say it's ballpark 250 in undesignated.
Well, retained earnings would be the 250 number. I sent you that today.
250,000.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
I can tell
Okay.
you.
Okay. All right.
So that's retained, and then there's another
Okay.
125,000 that's for like system development.
Sure.
So it's
Allocated.
connection fees we
Yeah.
put in that we put towards fixing water mains or sewer.
Okay. Okay.
What does
We had
enterprise
two-
mean?
242,000
It's
certified.
a self-sustaining.
Exactly, Gene?
Know what that's, if it's an enterprise fund,
Not
it's a
exactly.
self-sustaining.
That's
Self-funding, self-sustaining.
I'll take that as
Are there
close.
lots
of
Thank
those
you.
in town?
Thank you.
Yes, the transfer station
That's an
It's an
enterprise.
is an enterprise as well.
It's cable.
So no,
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 he
no
wasn't-
money from the general fund goes to
But it's still pretty well.
sustain that.
It's
Yes,
not
but
town-
it's not
town money.
an enterprise.
Right, yeah, people aren't paying.
So an enterprise fund
How many
essentially,
enterprise funds do we have in town?
Two.
just the two.
Water and sewer, right?
Water, sewer, and then
Transfer
the
station.
transfer
I
station.
see, gotcha.
But an enterprise fund is, it's basically, you have to run it like a business. So you have to make
Revenue
enough money
sources and-
to cover your expenses.
Is the 242 just a sewer number
No,
or
it's a
water sewer
combined.
combined
It's
number?
combined.
Got it.
They're
Okay.
considered one enterprise fund.
Okay, I'm catching up to that.
Let
Yep.
me read.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
yep, yep, okay, thanks. And what'd you say on the water department? Are we ready for the water department?
I think we are, unless you have any, you don't have any projects upcoming for the sewer
No.
that are spectacular and going to tear up all the roads.
So
in
about how
town.
many water users?
11.
About 1,175. And that's connections, not so much population.
Sure,
It's-
sure,
it's-
yeah.
It's like 3,900.
Are both those numbers running consistent last 5 years, give or take? I mean, you're not doing significant new connections, are you?
We're doing the North Village project, so
Okay,
that's both water and sewer.
okay.
Does that go up to the town line
For water and sewer, we have it, pretty much up to the town line on North Street, to the town line on Gilboa Street. We have water to the town line on Northeast Main, not sewer. To the streets. Uxbridge, we have it, or Davis Street, we have it to the high school, both water and sewer.
Yeah.
And there's discussions of trying to expand that.
If a homeowner wants to put in a sprinkler system, you can't. Really?
In
That's
2000
on town water.
Right. If you have a well, you could put one in.
Yeah, or you can dig a well.
Right. But from 2001, they were banned. The state frowns upon using public water for irrigation, just because they want you to save it for drinking water as opposed to watering lawns.
So you have to sink a well if you want grass to be green, obviously.
Yep.
But you're still allowed to put your sprinkler on in your yard.
You can put the portable sprinklers out, but they did ban hard piped irrigation systems in 2000.
How would you know if somebody put one in anyways?
Well,
Just by the,
They
just
have
by
the
the
water sewer
usage?
spot.
we drive around,
See?
and
See?
If you see water spouting out of the middle
Sure.
of the lawn.
Yeah.
They know where their
I wonder how
systems
they
run
did
to.
that.
I know where everything is and
Yeah.
what's connected.
Yeah, yeah. That one's
Kind
just
of like your
a
teenagers,
special
you'll
kind of
find
green.
out.
What's that?
That's right.
No one, you'll find out by accident, he'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone will be
That's right.
happy to tell
No, I
him.
didn't know
That's
if it
right.
was just like your water meter.
Trust me,
was
neighbors,
like so
neighbors
much-
love
Yeah.
telling on people too.
Yep, yep, yep.
Now, how about a capacity for new development? Do we have, if we get some, because I'm thinking economic development, do we have room in our septic system, our sewage treatment
The
plant?
sewer, we're at about 1/3 the capacity right
Great.
now.
Oh,
Right.
So we have capacity there.
Good question.
The water, we have plenty of capacity, but we would have to look at
Stuff.
going to the state and increasing our withdrawal permit.
right.
Because
Because they cut us back a few years. Did they get away with that?
they did.
They did, huh? I know we were trying to fight it.
And against my recommendation, the selectmen signed the agreement. So, I thought we should fight them. It was based on DCR, came up with a report on what they projected Douglas should need for water over the next 20 years, and that's kind of what the state went with. So, but we have the capacity still.
Oh, I know that.
We would need to go and file for an expansion on the withdrawal permit.
So are we withdrawing as much as we can, or?
No, we still have a little bit, but with the projects that are already approved, we'll be getting close. And we've done some efforts to make sure we're not wasting water. We do, every 3 years, we do a full leak detection survey by a third party. So they come in and they walk the entire system, listening, and they put correlators on to detect any leaks. We're pretty active about fixing and repairing any leaks, so the system's very tight. So.
We don't need to dig a new town well anywhere? then?
No, like I said, we have.
We just purchased some land down off 16. Is that for, well, no?
Main Street?
Main Street.
Yeah, Main Street, I'm
Main Street.
sorry.
Yeah.
That was protection around.
Yeah, that was to, that land is, it's all sand and gravel, and it's between the transfer station, or the old landfill, and our wells.
Right,
So it was
protection.
really advantageous for us to not let someone else buy it and go in and mine all your filter from,
Yeah, yeah.
from one location to the other.
Any more projects with water? Got all of our pumping going and,
Yep, the booster station is done, so that's up to par now. We just replaced and increased the capacity of the pipe going across the bridge when they were doing that culvert figured, while you're gonna have the bridge down, let's get the pipe done so we don't have to shut the bridge down again. So we did that at
That
the
was
same
really
time.
good thought. People don't like to go down Cook Street.
Yeah, we haven't completed that yet, but we do have that already set aside, and that's not counted.
So are your rates now kind of giving you enough to pay for your yearly budget? Have you had any rate hearing this year?
We
or-
didn't have one this year. It was actually just brought up at the meeting tonight before
Uh-huh.
it came to this meeting.
Okay,
So they do want to look at potentially doing a rate study
okay.
further in this year.
I think the water bill's due now.
It is.
Hey, how come we got all that interest on our water bill? Tiny piece of interest.
It's a
No,
mistake, it's right on the town's
Oh,
website.
yeah, we
Should
put that
ask
on the
me.
website, yeah.
yeah, it is on the website. It was a date issue with a munis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it will be reversed. when
Be
it
glad you're not in
gets paid.
Lowell.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I don't have anything else. Bob, do you have anything else to tell us? Come on.
Nope. Thank you very
Secrets?
Pretty
much.
straightforward.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for coming in.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Have a good one.
You're welcome to stay.
This is the first time I came in and I didn't have to wait behind the fire chief.
Yeah.
And if
You can
had
put
been
in a
here last
request
week, you would've been here
ongoing
Nathan.
if you'd like to.
Last time we heard the fire chief, then right after he had that big fire up on Depot Street. I hope nothing goes wrong with your
Yeah.
water.
No, everything worked out great with the water over there.
Good.
We just happened to have the hydrant they used was a brand new hydrant that we put in.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And when I got the call at 2:30 in the morning, I checked everything and all the tank levels were right at full and the pumps were still on, so it was just about to shut off, but when they started pulling, the pumps were still
Sure.
running, so
Wow.
everything was like a perfect condition for them.
Timing, yeah.
Great.
Excellent.
All right, thank
Nice.
you.
Good night.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, Bob. Okay, so next is our finance department.
Yeah, yeah.
Jean Lovett.
Let's go, let's do it.
No, it doesn't look like you brought your sheets from last week.
No.
So I didn't reprint them.
No,
I-
I didn't
I brought
know,
mine.
I didn't know we
didn't
needed
bring
them.
mine. I didn't realize it needed them.
I had mine in a bag.
So to be honest, there are
These
not many
jobbers.
changes. I can talk broadly about the department, but the expense side is pretty stagnant and our staffing has not changed. But for those of you who don't know, I'm the finance director for the town, and I work with the treasurer collector's office as well as the assessor's office. So I have myself, a 30-hour-a-week clerk in my office, and we have the treasurer collector and a 30-hour-a-week that primarily does payroll, the assistant collector, and then we have a shared position between the town clerk and the collector's office. And that's really because of the vacation, we have to make sure we have coverage for that. We can't leave the treasurer's office, the collector's office unattended, because that's when people come pay bills. And we have the assessor's office, which consists of the principal assessor and, again, a 30-plus hour-a-week clerk. So we have lost staffing over the years, but like all departments, we make it work and we work together. There's really, again, and as far as my budget, there's, I think, the total of my budget is, since you don't have it, salaries are $135,013, expenses of $2,195, for a total of $137,208. The audit is actually signed by the contract by the Board of Selectmen, but it is under the town accountant audit, that's $23,500. The assessors are $106,983. And that consists of, again, just the two employees plus the assessors receive a stipend, and that's $2,900.
Gene, who's covered by the 135 salaries?
That would be me and my assistant.
Okay.
The assessors budget is $37,396 for a total assesses of $144,379. The treasurer's office, again, they handle payroll, so in their expense budget, you'll have, we pay for Hopper's payroll, so we actually data entry and we use them. Their salary budget is $192,322. The expense is $59,165. That also includes munis for the collector's side, tax title, and Hoppers. I think those are the big pieces there. We have tax title of $19,210 and tax taking of $5,000. Most of you know our tax taking and tax title process are pretty well on a schedule now. We've implemented that over the years. I think it helps the taxpayer to know what to expect. We are pretty strict about when we, put things on demand, so, there should be no surprises for people now. We've been doing it for the last 5 or 6 years.
Could you
Pretty happy
explain?
with how that works?
Am I happy with it? Yeah, I think it's important to be consistent. So I am happy.
Does it need tweaking at all, or is it pretty good as it's in?
No,
place,
I
you
think we're pretty good.
Okay.
The only thing we added over the last 2 years is we've had a tax lien assignment sale, where if we have something in tax title, we may sell the lien to somebody else. I think this is the second year we've done that, to kind of keep our tax title receivable down.
And how did that work out?
That worked out well, because we do allow payment agreements, so, and our goal is to enter in a payment agreement or have people pay their taxes. We don't like to charge the interest or any of that stuff. And unlike, we get a lot of phone calls, and I give the collector a lot of credit, the assistant collector, because she has to handle that. If you have, for instance, the demand went out for the motor vehicle, if you have a credit card that has a late payment notice on it, you can call the credit card company and you can get it waived. We can't waive here.
State doesn't like that.
Yeah, we're just not allowed to, but people try, because they're used to, like, I'll call Chase and I say, hey, I was late, can you waive it? And they will, well, let me look at your history, and we don't have that flexibility, but people do try, and they're pretty, sometimes forceful about it. So it is hard on some ways, but, like I said, people have to understand.
You don't have that discretion.
We don't have that discussion, and this budget is based upon
Collection.
taxes being collected.
Yep.
Estimate receipts, you have to pay motor vehicle. I mean, you see that side of it as well, where we budget 100% of real estate and personal property taxes. We need to collect the money to be able to fund the town. So it's not punitive, it's just, we come to, plus, you're not doing anybody any favors.
Right.
I mean, there's a high rate of interest, 12, 14, 16%, where if you get that notice in demand, it prompts you to pay, we're not charging you that rate of interest. So, in some ways, we look at it like we're trying to help the taxpayer. I don't think they always see it that way.
Yes. Yeah, are the people paying the taxes a little better now that the economy is better? Do you have, for a while, there were a lot of them that weren't being paid, I thought.
Yeah, I think the tax,
They were doing foreclosures on houses, so taxes probably weren't being paid there either.
yeah, Cheryl has, she'll try to contact the bank
Yeah,
to see if, again, our goal is not to
Right.
advertise them.
right.
We do try to work with people as much as we can. If, last year we made calls, if there was anybody that was going through the process of the tax title process, anybody under $100, we physically called them and said, hey, do you know that you have a tax bill outstanding that's,
Yeah, right.
it's $50,
Yeah.
come in and pay, and we give them an X amount. Again, we're trying to help people, and
Right.
it's not punitive, but if you don't come in,
Yeah, right.
and you haven't made that payment, then we
Right.
can't treat you any differently than we treat anybody else.
No.
Again, consistency, it doesn't matter who you are, unfortunately, you can't have favorites. You have to treat everybody the same, so. Then the other things that fall under our department is health insurance, which I believe Matt has already explained to you. We've already talked about debt. And unemployment, we did reduce that down to 25,000 from 40.
Oh, you did?
We did. That was,
Is that conservative approach, Jean?
um,
I mean, I worry about that because it's, when it hits you, there's a lot.
there is a lot when it
You
hits
know.
you. We haven't seen any loss
Yes.
on the town side at all.
Yeah.
So it's really on the school side.
Yeah.
And with the school budget, after the override passed, being stabilized, I think we're okay. But if someone leaves us and then doesn't maintain their employment someplace else and they end up, going on unemployment, we could get hit after the fact.
Right.
So it may not even be planned on our end,
Right.
but, and I think we've already spoken about Worcester Regional Retirement, that went up 9.95%.
So-
So that's up over $1
I'm not
million.
looking at the unemployment. I guess I could flip through and finally get there, but
Page 23 of 25.
thanks, Jean.
Early on, I think last fall, you, in the other room, were talking about, you had renegotiated a bond.
We did.
Does that happen
Um,
every third year?
No,
Whatever.
10.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
what it is?
we
Okay.
actually did a refunding. We did it a little bit earlier, which was nice. So we saved the town a little over $900,000 over the life of the bond. So you'll see, unfortunately, people don't see it directly. It's not like you have your debt piece and then everything else gets funded. So it, when they get the increase of the 2.5% new growth, it kind of meshes together. But we do, we look at any way to save the town money. And that was an opportunity that we took advantage of.
How many bonds do we have going?
Mostly school, water, sewer, and then we did one combined a couple of years ago, and that was including equipment, water, and the municipal center. So I think it was just shy of $1 million that we,
Didn't we change that after the fact? I mean, didn't we wrap them together after the fact, or did we wrap them together at the
no, that was
initial
the debt
vote?
excluded
Okay.
bonds, the rescue pumper and the catch basin cleaner. We had voted those at debt exclusion, but we had remaining money from the school department,
Okay.
their construction projects. So we did a transfer for those instead of going out to
Yeah.
borrow. But if you want the detailed list, I encourage you to look at the annual report, and that is online. And it will give you the bonds by,
Number.
yeah.
Yeah.
I seem to be boring Pam, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm actually, I'm looking at the unemployment and I'm going, so last year, 18, was the only year that it really dropped down to 2,200. But the years prior were 26, 34, 21, 26. So then this year is 40. And then 20, you've got 25. But then on the 5-year, you've got 40, 40, 40. So I don't understand the rationale behind that. And unfortunately, the person who has that rationale is probably not here.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I will tell you this, a couple years ago, I have started to vote the insurance/employee benefits as one line in the town meeting. So it does provide a little flexibility that if unemployment ran high, it is voted as one item.
I see.
We don't vote it separately anymore. I record it separately,
Yeah, no, I understand that.
and but it's not.
So Jean, you're the finance director. So as you look at the finances of the town, just the way we get money, spend money, so on and so forth, is there anything in the process that you think needs to be more
Tweaked.
streamlined or tightened up or clearer? Or are you pretty happy with how it goes.
I think we always look to, you know, and I use that opportunity when the auditors come in to see if they see anything that, you know, we can do better, or when I attend seminars, you know, I have no problem learning from somebody else, and,
But just as you go through the day-to-day, is there ever a time where you say, man, I wish we could do this a little bit better, or something like that?
well, you'd always wish there's more time in the day.
Okay.
I don't know about anybody else. I
Yeah.
was
Well,
just
I think
reminded
it's,
we're in
it's
April.
sheer numbers. I think Jean's working,
Yeah.
you've increased Janice's time, but how, she's not a full-time now, is she?
30, yeah. I only have
So-
a 30. Every single bill that is paid from this town comes through my office.
Wow.
So I process all the payroll, all the bills, anything comes in. So when I say I look at everything the town spends, I physically check every single bill that the town pays. We have, I contacted Koopmans last year. I know this is crazy, but I said, hey, if we pay within 15 days, will you offer us a discount? And they said, yeah, sure, we'll give you 2%.
Yep.
So now I get on my departments. You know, it's not a lot of money.
A vendor that you're using all the time,
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah,
total
sure.
sense.
WB Mason has a 5% prompt payment discount, so we take advantage of that. The Worcester Regional Retirement has a 2% discount if we paid in July. So I'm always looking, again,
Yeah, specials.
I don't want to say I treat it like my money because it's not, but I'm very cautious. I always think of the taxpayer. And departments, they could be around this table and they could have a roast, and most of them can repeat what I would say to them if they were, yeah, they know. No late charges, no, interest, no penalties,
Yeah.
we process bills timely, and so that we maintain our relationships with the vendors, and, yeah,
So other than the day is too short,
the day is too short.
is that kind of the biggest
That's the biggest.
thing that sort of bugs you, that you just don't have enough time?
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that, you wish you could get done because there was more time. I'd probably reconcile more frequently than I do. Again, we send out expenditure and revenue reports, so departments receive them, and, we try to keep a good handle on what goes on here.
How long have you been the finance director for the town?
I've been the town accountant for the last over 13 years. The finance director, I don't remember.
That's what we changed.
You changed it and you made me become the finance director.
Right.
We made you.
You
Yes,
did.
we did.
And
All right.
it was a shall in there.
There you go.
Yeah, I tried to say may.
I caught that. No, I
Yeah.
caught that. I caught that.
It was not an option. It was not an
Right,
option.
right.
There's been a lot of change in the last 13 years,
Mhm.
just going to Munis on the collection side.
Yeah, we changed our
That was
computer
huge.
system.
Now, we had customized data who did a fantastic job, but they were DOS-based system, and it was one person that ran the
So
show.
very old.
Now, when you're talking about a $30 million corporation, and you have your entitled receivables on something like that, and it was recommended by the auditors to integrate the general ledger with the collection software. But those were major undertakings with the amount of staff that we have here.
Mhm.
It's just, it's just huge. We have water sewer is now our munis, so we've done some big projects with limited staff.
But there's a glitch in their little thing, how with the dates?
There was, well, it comes back to the people. And,
Yeah.
one
Always
date
does.
caused that little bit, one day caused
Wow.
that little bit of interest. And it is explained on the town website, and it did cause more work for us too, because
Yeah.
now when the payment comes in, we have to adjust
Phone
that one day.
calls
Yeah,
and.
so, yeah.
Right.
I don't, it's one of those things, it's like a bruise, but you'll never do it again.
Yeah, when I got it, I said, because I know that the day I get my bills, I pay my bills. So I knew my last bill wasn't late. And so I said, you better check your computer, I think there's a glitch.
Yeah, and we did put a notice on the town website.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, it was no big deal. I think on all of my apartments together, I don't think it was $10.
No,
You know,
but we
so-
don't
but
want
it was-
things like
but it
that to
just- It
happen.
wasn't not that much.
So back to Dick's comment, what will we do better next time?
Well, I'm not saying you need to do something.
No,
better,
no,
I'm just
but-
wondering, just.
No, but in that instance, when
Yeah.
something like that happens, I have now instructed the treasurer collector to do a random check
Yeah,
of about 20 bills throughout the run,
oh, okay.
so that
Mhm.
someone other than the person running it is looking at it,
Yeah.
because you may be able to catch those
Another
things.
set of eyes, yep.
Yeah, so we use those as learning opportunities.
How about this, Jean, as you watch all the different town boards and committees working on the budget, getting it ready for the town meeting, meeting with you, meeting with us, and so on. Is there anything in that process that you think could be more efficient or more streamlined or something? And I don't have an answer in mind asking this, it's just a fair question.
That seems like a deposition question. That's a very open-ended question.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm new, you know, so I'm just curious.
Yeah. I'll think about that and
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
It's not a loaded question.
It actually is a load.
It's an information question.
The counselor says it's a loaded question, so.
Howard, it wasn't loaded, it was
It wasn't meant to be.
pure information.
So you talked about the audit
I
and
did.
whatever,
I
right?
did. We had a clean audit.
Yeah.
We typically, I don't know that I can move it up any further, again, back to the time thing. You know, we typically close the books probably at the end of September.
Yeah.
I submit the balance sheet to Department of Revenue in October. And then we have the audit done, so we have an exit conference the beginning of December. So, the departments here are great. I couldn't do it without them, across the board, including the school, water, sewer, transfer station. Like I said, you could have a roast. You could have a town fundraiser by having departments come in and just roast me because they know what I'm gonna say, I have year-end meetings with them all the time. I think I'm gonna let the chief of police run it this year because.
Can we put that on YouTube or not?
Yeah. I said they know what I'm gonna say, so. But again, I feel like we have a good working relationship. Our goal is to always have a clean audit, protect the taxpayer, and, again, have good relationships with vendors. That's what we
So,
strive
based on the fact that you are wishing for a longer day and that we know what's going on in your office, everything's very, very busy, is there any chance that the Board of Selectmen would support extra hours for that office for your secretary?
I don't know.
And is it possible that we can get her trained to do more for you?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. I mean, I'd like to know that, because I think I've seen some personnel changes in our budget this year, and I think there's good reasons for them, and I think there's also a good reason to increase numbers in your office.
No, I appreciate the support, thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not just my office, we did take a hit many years
Oh,
ago.
yes, lost lots of people.
In our offices. Susie had lost a person in hers as well, so it wasn't just, but we had
Oh,
some
no.
very tight years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
And when, people retired, or like when, the former principal assessor retired, they didn't backfill one of the other positions. We just did with two, so
Right.
it's not just my immediate office.
Would an
Yes.
increase in your staff at all make any increase in revenue? It wouldn't, right? I mean, it wouldn't
No.
change. Like you said, though, you were able to find the 2% here, the 5% there. That's a time-consuming event.
That's actually
to find
revenue,
those
yeah.
locations. And I suppose it decreases expenses rather than increases
Yeah.
revenue, but,
Right. Yeah, we're always looking for that option, to, again, just having the tax title assignment sale. What that does is we reduce our outstanding tax title, but part of the agreement is they have to pay off the lien and stay current with their current taxes.
yeah.
So, we're always looking for things like that. And I think, part of what helps us with that, and I know for me and for the treasurer collector, is going to the seminars and talking to other communities. But like Bob Sullivan, we're finding that, DOR and the associations are recognizing that there's not a lot of us coming into this field.
Right.
So it's 10 years, there are going to be problems here as well. And they're looking to find ways to get the message out that, hey, this isn't a bad field to go into.
It's happening in everything, even in the building business. the average electrician, I think, is like 60.
Yeah.
You know? Plumbers, the same thing, you know?
Late 50s.
So you're not gonna see any guys out there framing, what, I'm gonna work that hard? No.
Okay,
Thank you, Jean.
thank you very much.
And I'll be at your next meeting if you have any other questions.
Good. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the recommendations on the town meeting articles.
I'm sorry?
Do we have the town meeting
Yes, we
articles?
do.
Thank you, Jean.
And again, I'm gonna remind you.
Reserve fund transfers or vouchers or snow and ice information?
We don't have any new information on any of those.
Okay, well, keep
It's supposed
our
to
fingers
snow
crossed that
tonight.
tomorrow morning we don't get
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
My daughter sent me a picture
What are
from
these
South
now?
We're
Carolina.
gonna
It was
pass these
snowing
around, one of each.
Oh, really?
I mean, it wasn't
But you know what,
much.
it was like high 40s today, it's kind of like
Like
nice.
one and a half,
Yeah,
right?
tomorrow afternoon, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
same thing. Thanks, Howard.
Here's another set, take one.
So
These
you
are a little bit different than usual.
Yeah, slightly different. We are still working on these.
So the second one was a special town meeting.
So we are still in draft mode on
Yeah.
both. I can run through them quickly.
Thanks, Jean.
By next meeting, you should have, well, the will be finalized because it's your public hearing.
Yeah, and Suzanne needs commentary from Finance Committee for the flyer by the
Right.
16th.
And we will work on the motions as well, so by next meeting. So the first article is really just the FY9 budget transfers. I have worked with the departments, and we try to address any need that we know of at this time. After this town meeting, we then look to the Finance Committee for a reserve fund transfer. But I encourage all the departments to notify me now, so we can address it as part of this. So we have an increase in selectmen wages of $3,000, an increase of highway maintenance of $20,000, increase of ambulance wages of $16,000, increase of building department expenses of $5,000, we may be going up on that one. An increased Board of Health expenses of $600, increased school transportation of $54,355. That is mostly sped. There's also a $9,000 piece of that is for the consultant that Matt was
Yep.
talking about earlier. So that's gonna go into the school transportation line. A decrease in highway wages of $20,000, a decrease in nurses' wages by $4,000, a decrease in insurance employee benefits by $33,955, a decrease in fire wages by $16,000, and a decrease in Norfolk County agriculture by $25,000. You notice here that it has to be budgeted. It has to be balanced. So what increases has to be matched by what decreases, it has to net zero. So we try to do it with like departments, like highway maintenance is going up 20, but we're taking 20 from the highway wages line. The second article is relating to the.
So there is no cost to Article 1, or is there a?
No, it net
Okay, so
zero.
it's all net zero, good.
The Article 2, this has to do with the refunding. So as part of the refunding, we did close out a couple of the articles that were in the capital projects, as well as the, when we sell a bond, we get a premium. We used to amortize that, but because we refunded that bond, we have to transfer that in. So that's really just a housekeeping item, and we also needed the money to pay for the interest piece of the debt. Article 3 is a snow and ice transfer. That is what we need as of today. That is coming from free cash, so that's $145,000. Article 4, that is the LED, and then Bill spoke about this at your last meeting. He is at a seminar, and that's why he couldn't attend tonight. We are still waiting for 2 other pieces of information before we can either pull this article or put a number in this article. And we're hoping to pull it, but Article 5 is to fund the health insurance equity portion. So because we're going to self-insurance, they will need, I don't want to call it seed money, but that's the only word I can come up with right now. But you have to put some money there so they can pay the bills against it. This is based upon the enrollment as of January, Again, you're doing the budget so far in advance. It does have to be paid in this fiscal year because they need to take effect on July 1st. So we put this article for the full amount, even though I may have some money in health insurance, because I thought it was important that the taxpayers saw the cost to this and not just a netted amount.
Yep.
So even though we may have a turn back in health insurance, I thought it was important to pull the full amount of what was needed on that. On Article 6 is the ambulance purchase. The town received $100,000 towards the purchase of a new ambulance. That was part of the FY19 budget from the state. Again, when you receive the money in one fiscal year, you tend to have to complete it in the same fiscal year. So we are closing out.
Scrape the bottom.
I
scraped
figured,
the
yeah. We had a number of capital articles that were pay-as-you-go, which means that we funded them with most of them were funded with either free cash or the override. And as the project's finished, these are the balances that were left, and then we use the difference of that with free cash.
Jean, is this for Article 5, the 227.4, is that pretty hard number?
That will be, that's the high number.
Or could it still go up or down a little bit based on?
No, I told them,
I gotta draw a line in the
I told
sand.
them, yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly, I said, this is it, I'm not changing it for
Okay.
town meeting. It would be our equity portion, so, you know, we would just get credited for that dollar amount. We have our open enrollment in April, the town, so by April 23rd to May 23rd, so there was no way I could give them, and once it's voted, I'm not changing it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah.
is the ambulance then costing $245,000?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah. And we've already received the 100,000.
Oh,
And Article 7 was a transfer from free cash of $9,800 to put in the security system in the Simon Fairfield Library.
They're gonna do a card system or fingerprint, or do we know?
I do have a quote, but I didn't look at it.
That's fine.
They're
doing motion detection, all right.
Yeah,
Do a
they-
sensors.
It's
How
a
much is-
safety issue.
How much is the total amount in free cash before all these
Good question.
That's an excellent question.
amounts come out?
You made her, look at you.
She's gonna look at
Get her book.
She never guesses anything.
I do not guess it.
He's a numbers person.
I do work with a lot of numbers. So, free cash was certified at $1,321,622. At the town meeting in the fall, we spent $109,890, leaving us with 1211732.
1211372.
1211732.
Dyslexic.
And because I will have for your next meeting, kind of where we will be with free cash after all of this is funded. But
Okay.
because I'm still waiting for pieces,
Yeah.
I really can't do that yet.
Okay.
So we'll, I will be, so after your public hearing next week, I'll be able to give you that information. The intent is not to use all of free cash.
Yeah.
But, the capital budget will use it, there are some articles on here that will use it. I mean, just with the health insurance and the snow and ice and the ambulance, you're using a little chunk of that.
And then we've got the annual.
So the annual is in very much draft mode.
Yeah.
You don't have the budget in here at all yet. You will see that for your next meeting. You do have the elected positions here. That has been completed. BBT is now Article 4, it is now its own article, so you won't
Yeah.
see that as part of the budget anymore. The transfer station has been completed, that's been filled in, you met with them last week. They are using some money, as they explained, from their retained earnings, again, to keep those ticket prices, the stickers down, until they see a strong need for capital. I think we continue to see that.
How, do we know how fast are the retained earnings growing?
For transfer station, that was actually pretty, I mean, I think last year was the first year it fell below that. They were 308,288, 263,620, 273,527, and last year was 274,000.
Okay.
So last year was the first
It's
time we
trending.
saw it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's staying pretty
Yeah.
steady, which is why they don't feel like they should increase their, but if they decide, hey, I want to do these capital projects,
Then they'll be using.
then I encourage them to kind of look at those ticket prices. PEG Access is Article 7, you met with him this evening. Again, all this money comes from the Receipts Reserved for Appropriation account. And I think that is it for me, other than the capital improvement plan, but I don't have that yet, so.
Jean, you said Article 1, we'd get that next week. The budget.
Yeah.
How?
How will you get it?
Yeah, how would we get the budget next week when we haven't voted on it?
Oh, Matt's budget that he's presenting to the Board of Selectmen.
You will
we're gonna
vote
get.
on it after your
Okay.
public hearing.
We won't get our budget, we'll get Matt's budget.
You will get
That's
Matt's
correct.
budget. You will get the, yes, and if we have to add another column, we will.
Okay, so next Wednesday, we'll have what appears to be developing as a single budget proposal from the town administrator and the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
And then after our town meeting, our public
Public hearing.
hearing, later that night or soon thereafter, we'll vote on a budget, and that's the budget that will go out.
Right, and, well, both, if.
If there are
both.
different ones, they would both go out.
The heading will be what's the key there. So you will see it, I don't have a copy of it, multiple columns.
Mhm.
And if the Board of Selectmen and the town administrator agree, they'll be in one column. And if you
Mhm.
disagree, you'll be in a second column. If you all agree on the same budget, I will just retitle it Town Administrator, Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee Budget.
So Article 1, what currently says Finance Committee budget,
Well, that's the Finance Committee report. So it's Article 2 that you'll see the budget in, FY20 budget.
bear with me, because I've been trying to understand this a little more this spring. What would be different in 1 versus 2? What's a report that's not a budget? We're doing really well, it's nice, the weather's good, and by the way, here's our budget in the next article?
The budget message that goes out as well.
Okay.
I know we typically take Articles 1, 2, and 3 together, because Article 3 is the elected salaries, which is embedded in the budget.
So 1 is just the,
We're accepting what the Finance Committee has to say about the budget and the articles for town meeting. And the Finance Committee also says things about all of the articles in here. So that could be part of, that's the
in
report
the
of the.
message part. Okay.
The report of the Finance Committee
Okay.
is what we are presenting to town meeting.
Begins with when in the course of human events.
Yes, that's what, 4 years ago.
Well, like I said,
So 2 is the meat of
the
it,
2 is the meeting.
and 2 would be the location where it would, 1 would actually say, this year, we had differences with the Board of Selectmen, and you're gonna see that in a minute.
And like I said, Article 1, 2, and 3 are typically
Sure.
voted at one
Okay.
time. Article
Okay.
3's
Okay,
pieces are included in Article
Right.
2.
okay.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So, just to continue going through. I mean, I know Jean has excused herself
I
from the
have
whole rest of this thing.
Yeah.
I have, thank you.
But I don't,
Thank you, Gene.
I don't know whether the Finance Committee has any other questions about the other articles. If you can briefly
I'm just
go through
curious.
them and read, peruse, whatever.
I'm curious of what's the short-term rental law? With nothing there but just a blank.
Howard, here's last year's, it's a little message in it.
Yes, okay, yeah,
Article 11.
So I think that's
right, in
probably.
the
Is
course.
that Article 11? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, it's stuff that's
Right. It threw
proposed,
me off.
Carol, and it's not yet done.
Yeah.
This is not cooked yet. Board of Selectmen hasn't signed it. They could be fiddling and adding things and whatever.
Selectmen? But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have any.
No, neither do I.
Even what it is.
We don't know. We'll see. It's being kept from us, for sure.
Well, we'll be able to see it.
There's a conspiracy here.
I can't, no, I don't think that's.
We're just getting a 4-page summary of it. Gene, on 14, general bylaws, reduce FinCom members.
Yeah, what say you?
Well, so would we talk about that tonight, or would we talk about that on the 10th? Whether we vote to take a look at putting that article on. That article wouldn't be on even.
No, except if we hadn't discussed it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We put it as a placeholder,
Yeah,
because there were a couple meetings in January we
Concerns.
had to cancel because of quorum.
It's a placeholder, but at some point, we
Yeah.
would vote on whether we wanted it there.
no, it's not our position to vote on whether we want it there, Howard, because this belongs to the Board of Selectmen. All articles belong to the Board of Selectmen. There are people that can give input, and certainly can give input. We've given input to Matt that we are having a tough time here. But we don't know whether we want to make that recommendation. That's where
You
we
could
were
make a
at.
You would make a recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the article will likely stay there, and FinCom could vote against voting for that.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's
again,
beautiful.
it was, the intent
That's
was,
impressive.
because we
Why don't you look
weren't,
for input?
to look for input, and we weren't meeting the quorum.
And we've met with the moderator, and the moderator wanted something checked that I think Matt checked, whether or not we can reduce our quorum and keep 9. And I think Matt says, no, you cannot do that, and there's a specific law that says you cannot do that.
Correct.
Okay, so that's not a
We checked at one of the
possibility.
January meetings.
That's correct, I
So
remember.
they should get it off of there then,
I think it probably needs to be pulled off.
What's that?
the Article 14.
I don't know if that needs to be pulled off. Again,
Well,
it's,
if
Okay,
it's,
so
are you going to,
make a
Do
motion.
we want it to go from 9 to 7?
we just had 2 different discussions, and not everybody followed that.
Yeah.
but didn't Pam just say that Matt checked and we can't reduce the number?
oh, no.
We can't
No.
reduce the quorum.
Yeah, the
Oh,
quorum.
okay.
We can
Quorum.
reduce the
Sorry.
numbers and then the
Okay.
quorum will go down.
The quorum is 1 more than half,
Right.
and if you reduce the number from 9 to 7, you need 4 instead of 5.
I guess as a general thought, I go back to the discussion about town meeting that has reduced itself down to 15. How did they get away with doing that?
They must have been.
I don't know. You know, I would, if it was 7, I'd love to see 7 members attend.
Yeah.
Right.
What concerned me this year is the number of meetings that had to be canceled because we didn't meet the quorum.
I only recall canceling 1.
I think it turned out to be only 1, but there
There
was
was
lots
one-
of sweat.
One where maybe we canceled it early,
We canceled it
and a
early.
different
yeah,
one
Correct.
where we
Had to
canceled
leave.
it late.
Correct. There was one
That
we
is
were
true.
in
You're right,
attendance.
you're right, you're
We
right.
had
So
bad weather
it's a
cancellation
closer
too.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to Dick's point, maybe next Wednesday, we'll internally have a vote amongst us as to whether we'd be in favor or against that article passing.
And you can also see whether or not the current members have enjoyed it this much this year and would like to stay on with us.
Unless we all move to Lombardy, right?
It's my 10-year plan.
Okay,
All
animal
right.
control bylaw, yeah, this is just replacing, so I have no idea what they're gonna replace it with, what the idea behind it is, same with personnel bylaw. I have no knowledge.
I think Bill spoke to you regarding some of the other ones,
Yes.
so,
Right, right,
yeah,
a lot of them.
yeah.
Is he in front of us next Wednesday again?
We requested all the
Sure.
departments to be
Okay.
with you next week. In case you have any questions on their budgets, they'll be at least there for the public hearing. I encourage you all to bring your big sheets too.
Yes.
I felt a little bad, I would have made copies for you
Is this
tonight.
our big sheet?
No,
No,
this
the
is
ones we got
These.
last
Big
week,
ones.
the whole
This
pile.
thing, Howard, this one.
Yeah,
The
This
whole
has all the
pile,
budgets.
this is what you want next week.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I may,
11 by 17 page.
yeah, I may in addition to this, give you, the current 6-page summary, which just lists salary and expense, but you want this in case you have any questions.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, I would have had that available to you if I knew that you weren't gonna have it with you.
Or you might bring
Gene,
extra
that's too much.
copies.
These are,
next week.
these are too much to
You
copy.
might bring extra
It's too
copies
much.
next week.
It's too much to copy these papers.
But that
This
pretty
takes too
one.
long.
Some of the finance committee members would be more than happy to rejoin next year if sometimes they were provided extra copies.
Oh, okay, all right.
At
You think
appropriate
that-
times.
All right. All right, good to know.
Just, I'm thinking out loud.
Okay. I appreciate it.
So do I.
You had my back tonight, so I.
So-
What was,
Why?
what's Article 27 with the GBI driveway? What about the
What?
driveway?
Yeah, I
It's
saw that.
empty.
Saw that. Maybe they need a new draft. All right,
Article 20.
we can ask Bill next week, right? That's a Bill question.
I have no idea.
The bill is too?
It's hard
Bill
to do.
Condiff?
Kind of, yep, he's
He's
our
the-
town engineer.
Oh,
He's
okay.
the guy,
Okay.
usually, yeah, he's
He was the one that
really
was last
solid.
week talking
Yeah.
about the different
Big-
parcels of
Yeah,
land.
we
He's
can
really
get-
solid.
Okay.
Yep. And to be honest, Lynn, he'll sit there, he'll answer any of your questions.
Yeah.
He's well informed, he's
Okay.
detailed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I swing by the office.
You usually tell how far you want to go, you know?
yeah, yeah, right?
Not
Yeah,
pretty
not
sure
too
I-
He
detailed,
doesn't,
but
no, yeah, right. It's pretty- yeah.
high,
I have a
high,
big
high
pile of
level.
stuff at home that I.
All right, so this recommendations part isn't actually tonight, all right?
Well, we don't have to do our recommendations.
'Cause it's not-
We'll
it's
do
not-
it, we'll do it all
it's not
next week,
clean enough.
but it's gonna be.
Right?
All right,
Yeah.
so let's talk about next week. So we're not meeting on Tuesday, we're meeting on Wednesday.
That's right.
That's correct.
But the,
At 7?
That's right. That's
Okay.
what's being posted. That's a
Yep,
public
yep.
hearing.
Yep,
so this
Yes.
public hearing is,
It's
Anybody
a
can
public
come.
hearing.
Yeah.
All the
All right.
all
departments
the
will be there.
departments come back.
all right, so where are we gonna meet?
In the
big room?
resource room.
Okay, the big room, good.
And then we go through a more formal set of the
We'll go through
Articles,
voting,
Right.
right.
our,
Right.
the budget, whatever, and make it our budget.
The same day?
Do citizens attend those usually?
Are we starting
Well,
like
if
4
it's,
in the afternoon?
well, if it's,
There have
when you
been
say
times-
same day, if it's after midnight, it's technically the
The
next
room won't
day.
be packed?
Right.
Well, you'll have other department heads there, but they.
We have had interested,
Yeah, so this will be a
people,
long
residents
meeting
No one,
next week.
that I could see them.
it could be,
Yeah,
it could be.
But as issues
Bring
have gotten
people up.
less divisive in the last 2 or 3 years, you'll see less divisiveness at that kind of a
Well,
meeting.
I think what you're gonna see is that the only thing I see that you might have people showing up on is that, thing on Wallen Lake.
the solar thing.
Yeah. They're all getting all revved up down there.
Planning board voted for it to pass it though, right?
They did. The other thing is not a lot the planning board can do to stop it, so.
Yeah.
Business, new business?
Old business, new business. How about approval of minutes? We've got some minutes that, March
You have the March
19th, and then.
meeting minutes that I passed out earlier,
Thank you
does
for
anybody need a
doing
copy?
that. Is it just the 19th? Wow,
There were a lot of minutes.
we talked a lot.
Okay.
Was I here? Yeah, I was.
Why do I not find it? Oh, here it is.
I was informed.
Those are
this week
very
already.
detailed minutes. I don't know who's their secretary for this meeting, but that's
Mary
a-
Wright does an awesome job.
those are a lot
She
of
does.
minutes.
I'm giving her a shout out right now.
She
She
watches-
has
I caught
to
that.
Listen to
She
these.
watches it on TV.
Yes, she does. Oh, you
Uh-oh.
may have be able to answer one question.
Look at,
too.
he was here.
May I interrupt, Madam Chair?
Yes, you may, but we're gonna do the minutes, so.
What is the will of FinCom with respect to Article 14?
Let me
We just
divine
discussed that.
what Article 14 is. Could it have anything to do with
Do
quorums?
you want to reduce your membership or not? Should we leave it in the warrant?
Here's a chance to take it out.
Yeah.
Well, we had that discussion in the last 5 to 10 minutes. And we, at 5 to 10 minutes ago, proposed that we would, I suppose, vote next week on whether or not we came to the perception that it was going to be in, but it might have our negative recommendation on it, which would be rather odd, I would think. So, I mean, with all respect to Mike and Heather, we could see if we've got a majority of the 7 today that would vote one way or the other.
I think reducing it to 7 is a good idea.
I do too. Who else? Anybody else
Just
got
because
ideas?
9 is a lot, you know.
9's a lot. To
I
have
don't
to get
think
9
you can
people
get
who want
9,
to
so-
serve.
I would be against it.
Would you?
Yes, I would.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's
not-
I don't want to use the word lazy, so I won't, although I might have just used that word, out.
Very subtle.
But I like the idea that after we had 1 or 2 misses, we asked the members that had decided to be members to do the best they could to be at the meetings. And
That's a good
that's
point.
that's the point of having the committee. Boy, you reduce that, and everybody takes an extra vacation day, and it doesn't change a darn thing, in my opinion.
So you think keeping it 9
So the surface tension is good.
and just encouraging
Look, I
people
like-
to take it
you
seriously?
did some whipping to get people here in January and February, and the
Hard.
fact that we had the one specific meeting where we had you two here. We only had 4 people show up, and look, all of us, got better at getting back to Pam on whether we'd be there or not. I think I gave a heads up early.
Yeah.
Once they said I wouldn't be able to make next Tuesday. Can you guys make that quorum? Everybody jumped back in, and I really appreciate it. People got right in and said, I can make it, I can cover it.
Yeah.
That's what
I
the
usually
committee
just
should
say
do.
unplanned because I can't guarantee.
Well,
that
Nobody can
Nobody can.
guarantee. So I'm okay either way. I get the argument to reduce it from 9 to 7, but I'm not sure I think it really changes that much. And if people want to be on a committee, they should make an effort.
I
to be
was
on a committee.
I was surprised it had 9, because when I was on planning, that
Yeah.
was 7.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a
that's kinda what I
placeholder
was
there
used to.
now, so we'll leave the placeholder on.
Yeah,
So if we take it off, it will not be possible.
but I can live with 9 too.
So it could still be stripped next
You can
week.
still take it out or
Okay.
pass over at a
Yeah,
town meeting.
and hopefully we have Mike and Heather, and we get all 7 existing members' input. Let's see where it goes.
So I also understand quickly that you had a question about Article 11, which is the adoption of 64G. That's an adoption of a statewide statutory scheme for the taxation of short-term rentals. Your Airbnbs and your,
Oh, yeah.
So what does that mean?
that means if you operate an Airbnb, you would be taxed on your
To the
revenue.
town as well as the state?
Yeah.
So how much
When
would
did
the
that get
town's
put on?
part be?
When did that get put on the
Yeah,
warrant?
who
That's,
proposed that?
That was probably me and Bill.
Okay.
It does a couple of things. First of all, it gives the town notice that that activity is occurring.
Yeah.
And we can match that up to our use table and determine if it's appropriate for the
Yeah.
town. Secondly, it is, there's already a hotel tax. There's a tax on rooms for rent. It just depends on the nature of the institution.
Oh, we have a hotel, Douglas Hotel.
Yeah, we do.
We do?
So that was the thought, I mean, really, we're scratching for every dollar of revenue, and it was something that we thought
Yeah,
would be
okay.
appropriate.
So there wasn't anything specific. It
We may
was-
not have one now, right?
Right, yeah.
But if you did, what would you do?
Is there a minimum requirement of nights? If you do it one night, you have to report, or?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
It's a
okay. We'll see that next week.
I mean, I feel like we probably owe you the background material, because it was very well put together, and we can send.
Do that next week, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Can you put an email to us
Yes.
on that? And then we can get it.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
write that on my.
Yeah, absolutely, perfect.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, back to the minutes, were we on minutes?
March 19th. I had not had a time to read this, so.
to score the Red Sox game.
I got a new phone and I used to have that app and I
I
don't
don't think
have
they've
it
started
anymore.
yet, Dick. They're out on the West Coast
Oh,
still.
that's right.
Yep.
Oh, so they're playing already?
Yeah, the Red
Yeah,
Sox
they're
app or the
playing
MLB app.
The MLB, but my nephew set it up for me and I don't know how to do it, so I'm gonna have to, when I see him next, I'm gonna have him do it. Do you remember who the other library trustee was? Was it Key?
Don't know.
I never saw them before in my life, so don't ask me.
Who are those ladies?
A discussion was held, a robust discussion was
Bus?
held. A robust.
Robust, yes.
Robust
Where
discussion.
where are we?
A discussion was held regarding minute books, and I suggested it was a robust discussion.
Oh.
But I think we're good as it is.
Minute books or budget books?
Budget books.
I see.
What page is that
To
on?
get me. Page 3.
Close enough. I move to approve these minutes.
You're looking for a second?
Yeah.
You got
Lynn,
mine. I second
She
that.
caught on.
she's good. We're a good team.
Okay, so Howard made the motion and Lynn seconded. Any more discussion about these minutes? Changes, amendments? Do you need more time, Dick? I'd
I'm
be-
fine.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're done. Unanimously approved on the 2nd of April.
I have a question that maybe someone here can answer.
What?
I live on U Street.
Yeah.
There's no gas line for
Yeah.
It's the
natural
state
gas.
Right.
grant, steady year.
What's required to get one, and is it possible to do?
They
They-
did 12,000.
Problem with gas, and we did look into this a number of years ago, even though we have these big pipes running through town and we think gas is running through them, they are only
Back in 2010.
transporting it. They are not distributing it. To get gas in
Different.
town, we have to bring it up from
So I
Whitensville.
think they'll just make it so it's about the
And
same amount.
the cost is,
So there's no natural gas anywhere in Dover?
No.
there is no natural gas in Douglas anywhere.
Bummer.
Right.
We need it.
I know we do.
I know. It would be good for infrastructure, for economic development as
Yeah,
well.
there is talk of it going up as far, from Whitensville up as far as the mill.
Bankrupt and everything.
Well, it doesn't do me any good. I
Well,
live on U
then-
Street.
You'd
Yeah,
have to
gets it
move
up
to the
to
Couple
mill.
more miles.
You could move to the mill.
I'm not gonna move to
I'm
the
not
mill. I
moving.
want it
All
to
right,
come
well
to my
They have,
kitchen.
they have, I
Howard.
understand their top floors.
They'll be all happy at the top floor.
I move to adjourn and have this discussion at the social club.
How about at my house? 'Cause
Exactly.
in my
exactly.
kitchen.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to adjourn. I won't go
Second
into
that.
the further. Any
that's
more
right.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.